There's a tower to celebrate the lost and the fallen, First World War and Second World War. I've been here before a couple of times. So sit on the bench, Retta and Jimmy. Stop and PD rest for a share with Rita and Jimmy. Thank you very much, and I think I will. Right. So get my breath back. Right. Well, there you go, folks. This will be posted a bit later on. This is the 28th of October. I've had a few tough decisions to make in my life, and one of them is this one I'm making. It's took me a little bit of time to work it out and sort it out, but I'm actually moving from Scotland back to Staffordshire in Tamworth. It was a very hard decision, and it's one that I didn't take lightly. I do love it up here. I can't say I don't, I do. There's no family up here, and there's no friends up here, and I am pretty much on my own, single, alone. No regrets to that, by the way. I can keep my own company and I can keep myself amused, so it's not a problem. I miss sometimes a bit of a chat, a bit of company. I could have mixed and mingled a bit more in Forfa, but to be honest, I'm happy enough as I am. The reasons, sorry if I keep looking around because it's a great view and I shall miss this. Why am I moving? Well, I came up here for one thing, which people watch my channel and have done for a couple of 3 years. I moved up here, and that didn't work out, but I've stopped up here, and I've decided that the house I was working on was up for rent, and so I've decided to go and rent that house. I was working in the garden. So there you go. Bit of a project for a couple of years, but I'm a free agent. I'm getting older now. I'm not ready for quite sitting down and watching the telly, reading the paper and all that type of stuff. I don't have a television. Haven't had one for, I think it must be 10 years or more now. You know, don't miss it. The news is absolutely atrocious. It just bores me to tears. And I don't know what other countries think of our system we've got at the moment, but it's absolute shite the last 3 or 4 years, excuse that word, where we just don't seem to make our mind up what we do, right or wrong, you know, but that's neither here or there. It's my politics I'm talking about. And yes, I thoroughly enjoy Forfa and Scotland, but the long journey back, just recently, it was a long journey back, and I had to give this some thought. It won't be announced, you know, as such. If this goes up, it will be put up to go up in late November, possibly. There's no rush. I'll put the bicycle one up before the bike ride, but I've just come up here to enjoy the view and say farewell to Forfa in my own way. I think it's the right decision for me. And I think, to be honest, although I do get on with my family, if you understand. There's only one son who doesn't speak to me, but that's his choice. I do get on with my family, and being closer to family, it's not a problem. So there you go. And there is one or two friends, I would say, which are closer. I've just spoke to Paul just before I come out on my bike ride. I hope Paul's doing well, and Lynn, his partner, Bob and Lisa, sorry, they're doing well. They're nipping in and out with a caravan. They live in Leicester, so they're not too far away. So hopefully I'll be able to drop round and see them a bit more, which would be nice, and I'll play them up, and I'll go and do their doors. But they're doing well. So excuse me if I don't keep looking at the camera, but the view is far better. I shall miss the Cairngorms, but it's not saying I won't come back. of course I'll come back. I have friends here which I would call friends, which is David and Lindsay, and I've met them a few times now, and they've always made me feel welcome, part of their family as I call it. And I'll be sorry to sort of say goodbye to those, and that's why this isn't going up until after I meet them in November 15th, 16th, 17th, in a couple of weeks time, and this will go up after that. So a big thank you to David and Lindsay. It was a tough decision and I didn't want to leave. After Backwater Junction I said no, I don't know why I even thinking about it, but actually it was just the tipping point of like, there's not a lot for me to do in Forfar, and I'm sitting around the flat. I can go out in my van of course a lot, so but I've decided that I'll move, and there you go. Anyway, on a brighter note, my holiday's booked. I think it's eventually sorted. One or two little teething problems, so I'm off to Africa again in the Gambia in December. I'm going away for about 6 weeks. No, I'm not going about 6 weeks, I'm going for 6 weeks. A bit of a confusion because it was a Thomas Cook flight, which I've managed to rearrange. It's cost me a few pound extra, 75 quid actually, but I've got to fly from Gatwick now instead of Birmingham International, so I've got to go to Birmingham to catch a coach to Gatwick again, and as Bob knows and I know from the last experience, it's a bit of a jaunt, but I fly back into Birmingham in January, then back up to Scotland, pack up the rest of my stuff and move, and I should be back down in Tamworth by the end of January, beginning of February. I look forward to meeting any people who are about. Not much to do between now and then. There's still a lot of packing, sorting. As you say, I've only been here for 2 years, just over 2 years now, and you're surprised in how much even in 2 years you collect. And I did get rid of a lot of stuff when I moved up here, so I've got rid of a few more bits and pieces. I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. So, excuse me. So yeah, so let's take another look at the view, and I'll talk behind the back of the camera. There's the old bike, and I don't get out on it enough, which is silly really. So this is just a fantastic view. I shall miss it terrible, but it's another chapter of my life. Here's this chap coming back with his bike. So I'll sign off and I'll catch you all again soon. Love you all, and you, and I think you know who you are now, don't you? Cheers all.